The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network. And hello, everybody. Welcome inside a wonderful Monday episode of Running Point, brought to you by our good friends that we're going to put in the top right-hand corner of the screen right here, Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. You know they go lagged there. Let me see. There it is. Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you. We try to do the same here on this show every single day. And one of the ways we do that, of course, is our coaches' corners, our player profiles, and everything that we do to talk to the people inside your communities to make this show great. That's how we go the extra mile for you. Greenwood Chevrolet, they go the extra mile by taking care of all of your car needs. If you are in the market for a new or used vehicle, make sure to head on down to Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They have a great staff that will do whatever it takes to make you as comfortable and as willing to go as possible. They have a great service department as well. So if your vehicle is in the need of some loving, Greenwood Chevrolet has you covered there. So make sure to head on down there. Tell them Anthony from Running Point sent you. We'll have some fun. They have been a sponsor of this show since its start, and we couldn't thank them enough for believing in everything this show could be. Great sponsors like Greenwood Chevrolet are why we're able to do the things we're able to do here on YSN. And this is kind of like the week, right? This is the week. We kind of got our toes wet with soccer and volleyball over the weekend. We're going to talk about the results that came in, but this is when the rubber hits the road, right? We have volleyball all week, soccer all week. Football starts on Thursday, Friday, Saturday into week one. So this is like hit the gas. Your breath of if you were taking a breath of YSN 1, you shouldn't have been because we had great summer coverage. But if you took a little bit of a break and now you're kind of stumbling your way back into YSN, your break is over, right? Your breath is done. Exhale, because here we go. And it is going to be a nonstop roller coaster fall sports ride all the way up until that little gap, that tiny gap. Very tiny, by the way, especially if we have football teams that make a deep playoff run like we usually do. Very tiny gap between, football, volleyball, all that stuff ending, and basketball. It's going to be nonstop until then, right? And that's like your Thanksgiving break. You might get a week, maybe a week breath, and then here we go back for basketball. So here we go. Like, buckle up. Keep your arms inside the vehicle at all times. Thank you for choosing YSN Roller Coaster for your sports entertainment needs, because it's on, right? It is on. Here we go. I'm so excited for the week. I'm so excited for just being back to just nonstop talking about local high school sports. Gonna have some fun. Let's take a trip into the weekend, recap the stuff that did go down, because we had plenty of action go on and off the network over the weekend. Volleyball and soccer, and a little bit of Little League football too, as well as the Scrappers, who are right on line with first place. So a lot of things going down right now. We will head back to Friday and get you covered with some Friday final scores. We saw soccer happen on the network, and we'll start with United. The United boys soccer team, they opened the season with a commanding win over Salem on the road in Quaker country. Um, you look at it, it was a 4-3 win and nail biter for United. The difference maker was a penalty kick by the guy that scored all 4 goals for United, Maddox Andrea. This is a kid's name, by the way. If you've been following our soccer coverage over the years, which has gotten better and better, and we've been able to dive deeper and deeper into soccer. But one name we always knew about, even back a couple of years ago when our soccer coverage was like kind of just putting your toe in the water and getting ready to dive into it. We knew Maddox, right? We knew this kid. We knew how good he was. We knew what he's doing for United. We've had player profiles with him. We've done articles about him. He's done wonders for this United team, and he does it again. Like you watch the tape, he was carrying the team. He was just electrifying what he was able to do. And there were a couple of I think he had the chance to score more than 4 goals. He had 4, but he had a couple of open shots that just didn't go in. Like there were, I think he probably could have had 7. This could have been a 7-3 game, with the opportunities he was able to get himself. Soccer. You're not going to hit every shot you take, um, no matter how good you are. We saw that even in the Olympics. I mean, there were men and women that are on the biggest level of the sport missing some shots that they probably feel like they should have made too. So, 4-3 your final score, and it was a good game. You look at Matt Mars right up. It was back and forth the whole time, and like I said, came down to that penalty kick. That one that might have been a little controversial, maybe. I mean, I know that the Salem fans in Salem were maybe a little bit upset about that call. It's a pivotal penalty call, down the stretch, but you know that's sports, right? Nothing kicks off the sports season like a controversial call. So United gets the win over Salem on the boys' side. It was a boys-girls doubleheader though, and Salem got their revenge on the girls' side. They get the win 4-0 over United in the nightcap, and it was a dominating defensive performance from Salem this time around. And when I look at the recap for this one, and I'm looking at what Matt Marsh sent in because he was our wonderful announcer on the ground there. Carly Sampson was the Quaker that had 2 of their 4 goals, and she was the player that stuck out, to him when he was calling it. And didn't get a chance to watch this tape. I watched the boys' game, and then I had some content to write, so I wasn't able to tune into the girls' game. But what I can say is the Salem girls team, a lot of question marks, right? A lot of graduating talent that went from last year's team. So you kind of are pleasantly surprised if you're a Salem fan to see, okay, we're on track. We're still this team that's going to go out there. We're going to play really good defense. There was still plenty of athletic. Um, they had a lot of speed, which one big question mark. When you lose Riley Hutton, you're like, hey, what's our speed going to look like, right? Because she's one of the fastest girls that was in the area on any sport. So you lose her, you're thinking like, what's our speed going to look like? But they look plenty athletic. Their defense was locked down, and they found ways to score. Was it like an astronomical? Our offense was off the charts. No, but 4 goals, that'll win you a lot of games in soccer. So I think Salem calmed some stomachs on Friday on the girls' soccer fanhood. Right? They were like, okay, we're fine, guys. We're fine. We're gonna be fine. We lost some talent, but great coaching staff, great programs. They come back from losing talent, and they have great youth program in Salem, and I think their girls program gonna be just fine. Sending a good message on Friday with that win. Now we go into more stuff that happened on Friday. And we see that also the Columbiana volleyball team was able to open up their season with a big win. They were able to sweep Springfield on the volleyball court. Kind of close sets, 25-20, 25-21, 25-22. So even though it was a sweep, very competitive. It was a dogfight for Columbiana, pun intended, Um, Springfield brought their A game, and I think the Brun guards were really hard to defend. In fact, when you look at the numbers, Columbiana was more um, spread out, right? They had several players putting up, 5-6 kills. Hard to defend that, but Springfield, Balin and Jamaica Brungard had more kills. Both had more kills than anybody on Columbiana's team. The problem was Columbiana had 4 or 5 girls coming at you, and Springfield just couldn't find enough consistency from the secondary hitters. But Balin Brungard, by the way, he's going to be a big player to watch if you're thinking like names that might go under the radar this year. Don't forget about Balin Brungard. Plays volleyball, doesn't play basketball, but does play volleyball, shines in volleyball. Um, I'm looking for the numbers on her. She had 11 kills, 17 digs, 2 aces, so a double-double for her. Jamaica Brungard had 11 kills and 7 digs on her slate. And then Kerrigan Mullen for Springfield, 25 assists. And Ava Toscano had 12 digs as well. For Columbiana, like I said, a pretty spread out attack. Ellie Jackson had 5 kills, 9 assists, 10 digs, so almost a double-double. Cameron Perkins, 5 kills, 10 assists, 11 digs, so that was a double-double for her. She also added 2 blocks. Danica Hallis, 5 kills, 10 digs. Marin Hepler, 5 kills and 11 digs. So you see that all spread out. I mean, what is that? 1, 2, 3, four girls with 5 kills and double-digit digs. That's tough to go up against. You're gonna find ways to win sets even if they're close, because you're always gonna be, no matter what rotation is in, what rotation you're in, you're gonna be able to get balls up in the air, so you're gonna get your digs, and you always are gonna have hitters in the front row that can put balls down, right? And that's one of the things that teams that don't have the depth that Columbiana does struggle with. Like when this girl's not in the front row, how are we gonna get our offense rolling? Well, Columbiana doesn't have to worry about that because they're always going to have quality hitters in that front row, no matter what rotation they're in, and that's important. That is super important. They're good passers. They have a good setting crew. They run more of a 6-2. Springfield was running a 5-1. You see that with the 25 assists from Kerrigan Mullen. So 25 assists for her. She's the one setter. But Columbiana with two players with double-digit assists tells you they're running a 6-2. That gives you even more options in the front row, right? 6-2, for those of you that are new to volleyball, means that you always are going to have 3 hitters in the front row, and you rotate in setters, right? So your setters are always going to be a back row player. They're not going to have to play defense in the front net. So you usually run that offense, 1, when you have a lot of hitters to work with, and 2, when you have, we have 2 quality setters that you can trust, but also setters that, their strength is not their defense at the net. Usually, if you don't have extremely tall setters, or if you don't have setters that are going to be super aggressive at the net too, you're not going to get those dump overs because you can't attack like that out of the back row. Those are when you run the 6-2. So Columbiana is always going to have 3 hitters in the front row at all times. That's why you run that kind of offense, and they have 2 setters that are very trustworthy, that do their job very well. So the Clippers back in action tonight as well against Poland. So they have a couple of non-conference games to start the season. That'll be in Columbiana. Joe Eusebio will be on the call. We'll talk about all the games that'll be on the network tonight in a little bit. Before we go into Saturday, we had one more score come in. Well, I should say stats come in for soccer. We had the doubleheader in Champion, The JFK girls got revenge on the Flashes. They get the 3-2 win. Remember, Champion went undefeated last year. The first game of the season, they went and beat JFK. That was a excuse me. I think it's gone. It was a 2-1 match that Warren JFK lost last year. So this year, they come in, they get a little bit of revenge, they get some momentum in the season opener. 3-2 is your final score. Dee Dee Ryan had herself a day, 3 goals, hat trick. That's a good way to start the season. I said this on Friday in the show, right? All you have to do when you're talking about Warren JFK soccer, the first name you have to mention, Dee Dee Ryan. I think I said like that verbatim on Friday, and it was like, hey, look at the universe. Sometimes Anthony strikes gold, right? Doesn't happen too often, but sometimes he throws a dart and it hits the bullseye. And Dee Dee Ryan has a big game right after I talk her up on Friday afternoon. So, 3 goals for her for JFK. Champion, they had a goal from May Robinson and Maylee Nadal. They each had the goal. Allison Hinderlight had, sorry, my mouse was covering the number, had 8 saves. 8 saves in goal. So she played a good game as well for JFK as the Eagles girls get the win 3-2. And then on the boys' side of that doubleheader, Champion won 4-0 on the boys' side over JFK. Unfortunately, we didn't get the stats reported to us in that game, but we did have that game broadcasted. CJ Bako was there, so we'll still have the recap for you. We go into the weekend and volleyball getting more traction on Saturday. This is when I get to talk about the game I was at, my first volleyball broadcast of the year. Happy to be back in the gym. Here we go. I was in Champion for the tri-match between Champion, Warren JFK, and Pymatuning Valley. A very fun tri-match. You looked at it, everyone's kind of starting their first game. There was some rustiness, of course, some people trying to find their confidence, their rhythm. That's always going to happen first game of the season. But the effort was just ridiculous. Like there were a handful, more than 5 or 6 balls that had no business staying up in the air, but players found a way to get on the ground or run across the court, found a way to at least get the ball in play. Didn't always end in a point, didn't even always end in the ball going back over the net, but just getting to balls that most people can't get to or most people give up on. That's a lot of the things I saw on Saturday, which was really cool to start the season because it's a Saturday morning. It's the first game of the year. You're not really in full form yet. You're not in that volleyball rhythm yet. And sometimes that's the first thing that goes in that situation. You see a lot of first games where I'm not saying the effort's not there, but it's not like middle of the season, I'm going to dive for every ball kind of effort, in the first game usually. And I saw that a lot from all 3 teams. Really impressed. I was really impressed by the libero play by all 3 teams. That was one of my takeaways. And I was talking to about it, coming out of the game with all the coaches. I was like, man, these liberos were really, really good. Focus for Pymatuning Valley. You had Boggs for Champion and Gillespie for Warren JFK. They all just played really well. Lights out. When we get into the results of the weekend, Champion won the tri-match. Now, this was a tri-match that JFK came into the same place last year and won. So when we're talking about Warren JFK and Champion, a lot of revenge on the line this weekend to open seasons. Soccer JFK girls got their revenge, and on the volleyball court, Champions the one that turns the table and gets a little bit of revenge. First thing you talk about with Champion, Kennedy Caldwell, she had a great day. Double-digit kills in both games. That's what Kennedy Caldwell is going to bring you for Champion. She's one of the best hitters, definitely in the conference, if not the area. When you get her a set that's right in a rhythm, and when you get her one-on-one, that's a lot of trouble. She was able to move the ball around cross court a lot. We kind of lulled the defense into defending the cross court, and then she would go line. Saw her use the block really well. Saw a couple of soft touches to go over the block as well that found that middle hole of the defense. Because when your blockers are there, usually your defense back row not playing up, right? Because usually your blockers are trying to take away that middle. So this finessing it right over the blocker's hands, right into the middle of the court. Um, that was really fun to see her be able to pull those shots off. Once again, Champion, I really liked just the effort, right? I thought their middle, Taylor Gearhart, was putting on a show as well. She had the match ceiling kill in the end of set 2 for JFK. She had a couple of blocks. In fact, she had three or more blocks in both matches the Champion played. I think 3 in the first one against Pie Valley and 4 in the second one against JFK. Really impressed with that. Can't say enough about just this Champion team that when I was talking to Kennedy Caldwell after the first game, talking to Avery Boggs after the second game, they just have this sense where they feel like they underperformed last year, and this is all about just the team winning this year. They want Champion to be on the volleyball map, and they will do whatever it takes to do it. Like, they didn't talk about themselves or what. Even when I asked them questions like, hey, what was working so well for you, they deflected to team, right? They were just like, you know what, it's the team. We played well. We. And I love that attitude. That is going to carry Champion to a lot of wins if they're able to keep that mindset throughout the year. Love getting the chance to talk to Coach Mast. She's a great volleyball mind. You could tell, first game of the first day of the year, she's trying to get everything situated. They were in the middle school. There was a lot of things that could have been distractions or derailments for this team. Hosting a tri-match, not in your varsity gym, going to the middle school, having to figure out even the little things like, hey, do we have access to the PA system? Can we introduce players? Okay, I guess we can't do that. What are we going to do for the anthem? Let's sing the anthem. They had both teams just kind of sing together because they knew they didn't have a PA system for the anthem. That was pretty cool. But when you're dealing with all of that, plus just getting ready for volleyball, it can be kind of a distraction, but it wasn't for this team. It wasn't for the coaching staff either. The JVs were playing across the way. So really, Crystal Mass with her varsity was pretty much the one-man band. So I was really impressed with just that ability to roll with the punches, right? And going to Palmetooning Valley side, one of the things I really liked, they did not play great against Champion in the first match of the day. They were competitive for the first half of the set, and then it just really fell off. But then JFK, both sets, even though JFK won them, both sets were extremely consistent and extremely competitive. So I really like JFK. You don't have a lot of time to come together and regroup in a tri-match. They give you maybe like 10 minutes between games. So, they had to play back-to-back against Champion and Warren JFK. So they're playing a very fresh JFK team that didn't just play a game. They're at the disadvantage. And when you look at the way that the Champion game went, you think, this Palmetooning Valley team, they're going to be the more tired team. They already look a little wavy. JFK was really good last year. This could be a really quick 2 sets, but it wasn't. Palmetooning Valley fought their tails off to make that match close, to make those sets close. Really impressed with their ability to bounce back. I know they didn't get the win against JFK. They couldn't pull out those sets, but that could have easily, for a weaker-minded team, could have been like 25-9, 25-10, right? Okay, we just got beat up by Champion. We're tired. They're fresh. Pack it in, try again in the normal volleyball week, right? We didn't even have, the head coach couldn't make it, so they didn't have their head coach there, right? She had other obligations. So there were a lot of things that could have went wrong for Palmetooning Valley, and I love seeing them bounce back in that second matchup and just fight their tails off to say, that's not going to be our story. That's not going to be what we're about. We're not going to be the team that lays down and says, let's pack it in. We have matches to play. We have points to win. Really impressed. Once again, the libero, great. Like, Fogus was playing out of her mind. Really liked Taryn Tish was a name that stuck out to me, right side hitter. You don't see a lot of right sides that stick out. Usually right sides are there just to have a third option. But I really liked what I saw from her arm swings. She had a couple of kills in both matches. And think they're doing fine. Palm Valley is going to be a good volleyball team. They have a schedule that I think will favor them in a lot of games. I think that's a good way to start the season and prove to yourselves that you can get yourselves off the mat. Um, I'm not selling the stock in Palm Valley just because they were the team to win 0-2 in this weekend. Tri matches are also hard to win. I talked about this with Coach Young on Thursday when he was on the show. You have no time to really have a slow start at all. You have 2 sets in the tri match, not 3. So you really got to start fast, or you're not going to be, in for a good show. So Palm Valley, the way they were able to take that JFK match and take it seriously and fight hard, they lost 25-21, 25-22 were the set scores. So not a bad showing for them. Now JFK side, I want to talk about them a little bit too. The first matchup, Hannah Myers looked like she was just in rhythm, right? She was just killing it. She had 10 kills against Palm Valley in 2 sets. That's phenomenal, right? And then I think Champion's defense found a way to get her out of rhythm, right? She had 4 kills against Champion. She's going to be where that team goes, right? She's going to be their number 1 hitter. She's going to be the rhythm setter. It felt like their offense was working outside of her better when she found her rhythm in the first match. I think she's going to be that girl that sets the tone, right? You kind of like a Brie Littell from Girard last year. Not the only hitter on the team by far. They had other talented players last year. But when you looked at those games and those matches, like everyone kind of went how Brie Littell went, right? If she had a bad hitting day, it kind of trickled down into other people. But if she was on and in rhythm, then everyone else was too. I think Hannah Myers is going to be that for JFK. And I don't want to put like extra pressure on Hannah Myers. Not trying to do that. Not trying to say she's the make or break by any means, because they have other quality players. But what I'm trying to say is, like, it just felt like, at least in that game, that day, it felt like she was that cog, that momentum, right? That churner, that when she's on, everyone else feels confident. There are leaders like that because she's a leader. There are plenty of players like that in every sport. Like when they're on, you just feel more confident because, man, if she's on, we can be on and we can win this game. And when she's not finding a rhythm because the defense is picking her balls up or the blockers are there, I think the rest of the team feels a little bit more pressure to do it, and it just didn't feel like the same mindset. But they do have really good players outside of Hannah Myers in the hitting department at JFK, especially Anaya Johnson. What I saw from her, especially one of the things that really stood out, blockers. Blockers, one of the toughest things to do as a blocker in volleyball is block back row attacks because the timing has to be perfect, right? And she blocked like 2 or 3 in that match. Kennedy Caldwell is a really good back row swinger. So to block her from the back row a couple of times, that's high level. That's next level stuff. So Anaya Johnson, loved what I saw from her. Once again, said about the liberos, Riley Gillespie, was really just as good as all the other liberos. This was a libero showcase. They were all playing really well. Loved what I saw from her leading that back row defense. JFK's defense actually in the back row did not play bad. I don't think. You look at those matches. 25-23 was the score of set 1. I think if they win that set, it's a different. Obviously, it's a different story because they lost 2-0. But I think that second set went so downhill because of the momentum the champion was able to grab at the end of set 1. They were down 22-18. Normally 22-18, you're in a good spot to win, right? You're gonna win that set more than not because you have 3 points to get and you're 4 points up, but you're also the other team has to have 7 without you getting 2 to get 25 to win with 25. So that's tough. That's tough to do, but Champion did it. Champion went from 22-18 to 25-23 and then won the second set 25-14. So you can tell like that momentum carried hard from the end of first set into the second set. JFK, like I said, try matches. You don't have a lot of time to get your footing back, right? Because in a normal matchup, okay, you lost that set 25-14, you kind of regroup, you say, if we just play like we did in the first set, we can win a couple of sets here. We can force a fifth. We'll shake off that second set. We're fine. They had the momentum. That's okay. We have the third set. We know that we can compete with this team. That would be my speech in the huddle if it was a 3-set match like normal. But it wasn't. It's a excuse me. It wasn't. It's a 2-set match, right? So you don't have that time. You don't have that luxury. So JFK couldn't bounce back from that momentum to come back from. Let's talk about some other stuff over the weekend. Excuse me. We had Crestview get the win over Salem in a straight sweep. Abby M double. No shocker there. The senior that's going to Pitt. She's good. There you go. She's really good. Probably the best volleyball player we have in YSN. 20. The scores were 25-12, 25-14, 25-16. The final numbers for Abby M were 20 kills, 10 digs, 4 blocks, 6 aces. That's a double. Lainey Hour, good day for her. 13 kills, 8 assists, 7 digs. Everything working there. But then some new names that are going to be in the fold this year that got into the stat column. Sophia Stewart set with 26 assists. So she did have the bulk of the assists on the day. Bailey Ash had a good defense today. 9 digs for her. So those are some new names that I was excited to see for Crestview. Obviously, you lost your libero and Emily Downey. You lost Grace Hour, who was kind of everything for you. Was a solid hitter, was someone that played defense in the back row, and then ran that 6-2 offense really well as the second setter. So you lose to seniors like that, especially when I'm talking libero, because we're talking about Bailey Ash right now. You wonder how your defense is going to look, because you can have the best hitter in the world and the best setters in the world, really. And Crestview is still strong in setting and hitting. But if you don't have the defense that can get the ball to the setter, it's a moot point. I am sorry. I got the tickle today for some reason. But yeah, it is a moot point if you can't get the ball to your setter with 3 options. Then you can have the best setter and hitters in the world. You just can't get in the rhythm. You can't get in the system. So the defense was going to be, in my opinion, the overall back row defense was going to be like what I wanted to see out of Crestview. And you see the dig numbers; they're there. Salem was not an offense that wasn't hitting. They were getting their hits. Crestview had to get digs. They had to get their digs, and they got them. Abby M is supporting in the back row when she's back there getting her digs. But you had Lainey Hour getting some digs at back there. You had Bailey Ash getting digs. You got defense. So I wanted to see that. I thought Julia Blasco was going to be a big loss on her defense. She was a good passer when she was in the back row. Great hitter. Not discounting what Blasco was able to do when she was in the front row. But I thought her defense was a little bit underrated when people were talking about Crestview. So I was really curious to see in these first couple matches what their defensive numbers look like. I'm really excited to see them against East Liverpool. I think they're going to need that back row even more. So really excited to see that start, especially the dig numbers that came out of Crestview. And that's going to be one of the things to keep an eye on when Crestview continues their season. Lakeview got the sweep in their tri match. They went down to Akron, St. Vincent, St. Mary. They were able to win both matches there. They got the win over not Twinsburg, that was Hoban. Chagrin Falls and St. Vincent St. Mary. Let's see. Addie Allen with 8 service points, 11 digs. Mallory Mylock had 22 assists. 4 aces. Reagan Price had 11 kills, 2 blocks, so a good day for Reagan. That was against Chagrin Falls. Against St. Vincent St. Mary, Reagan Price and Molly Stewart both had 11 kills. Price had a block. Allen had 12 digs. Laura Schmader had 3 aces. And Mallory Mylock with 25 assists against St. V's. So Lakeview back in action Tuesday. They will be going up against Hubbard on Tuesday to open up conference play. So Lakeview, who did not lose a single senior, they're up and running just like we all expected them to be. And, no shocker there. There is no shock in that. West Branch, I want to talk about them because they were on the network. They got their win in the tri-match that they went to Southeast for. They were able to beat Southeast and then beat South Range. In those 2 matchups, South Range also got the win on the weekend against Southeast. So South Range 1-1, West Branch 2-0. Ty Bartell has a great write-up for that. Looks like leading the way for West Branch. Sorry, I was reading the wrong. I was so confused. I was reading the wrong recap. Let me see real quick. Audrey Ring had kills and blocks, 3 blocks. Addie Craven had a good day for herself. Kendall Cayley had a good day for West Branch on the offensive side. So those are some names to watch out for. Of course, Reagan Greenison led the back row as the libero, senior libero, going to Mount Union. Going to Findlay, should say. Everyone knew she was going to have a good defensive year. She starts off well. So West Branch gets the win in that tri-match against Southeast. South Range and Anatoy get the win over Southeast as well. So they're 1-1. Anatoy had 7 kills on the day. Those scores were 25-12, 25-10. Hayden Carey really set the ball well, and then Allie Irons played a good defense according to Ty in that matchup as well. So South Range looking good. West Branch looking good, and also want to give a shout out to Southeast because that was their first YSN broadcast. So welcome to the family officially. You are now on YSN Southeast Pirates. We can't wait to be down there more for football, volleyball, soccer, all that fun stuff during the fall sports season. That'll do it for our recap of the weekend. When we come back, we have some season previews to get to. Crestview's Alicia Auer going to be featured on today's episode of Running Point, talking about her season. That's coming up next on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens.
Live here outside the Mahoney County.
On air, online,
Wednesday afternoon weather update.
Very dangerous.
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
Craftsmanship to us is 60 years of pride and dedication.
Passed down from generation to generation.
The hardwood floors that your kids take their first steps on.
The solid wood doors you quietly close at night.
The things we create day in and day out are the products that end up turning your house into a home.
At Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, uncompromising quality and craftsmanship built our business.
And it will keep us moving forward for generations to come.
Going the extra mile at Greenwood Chevrolet means we want to take care of the community that takes care of us too.
And we have to work together always. And that's how you stay in business for 40 years.
You know, I love being a helper because when I help somebody, it makes me feel good.
It means a lot that I can make a difference in others' lives.
So I will do everything I can and just being there for them every step of the way.
I want them to know within the first 5 minutes that they could depend on me. That's what going the extra mile means, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun. It all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by our good friends up in the top right-hand corner of the screen, Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town. You heard from them in that commercial break. Remember, they go the extra mile for you, so you don't have to. We try to do the same here on this show every single day, and we will continue to do that with a Coach's Corner season preview from the head coach of Crestview, who has been and looks to continue to be probably the best overall team, definitely successful team in the YSN family. Went all the way to the regional finals last year, looking to make a deep run again. Alicia Hour with the Coach's Corner and season preview. Here it is. Anthony Hartwig here with another fall sports season preview. We're joined by the head coach of the volleyball team down in Crestview, Alicia Hour. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thanks for having me.
Another season in Crestview coming up at you. Before we talk about all the exciting things we have in store this year, let's quickly recap last year, another tremendous season for Crestview. What kind of lessons do you think the team's taken from last year, and what do you hope the returning players are going to bring from last season?
Well, last year was kind of a dream season. I mean, my 20 plus years of coaching, that was probably one of the most enjoyable years, just based on the personnel, the team chemistry, how hard they worked, how much fun they had. So it's really hard to measure up to last year. It's funny, when we started over the summer, the girls kind of were quiet on the court and it wasn't real energetic. So that's something that we've been learning to do, is to fill the voids of energy that we've graduated, and still be successful on the court and have fun. So it's been a learning season. We still have a ton of talent, but bringing it together without the leadership of last year's seniors has been different. So I think that the girls are learning that this is a different year, this is a new year, and we just need to make it our own.
Yeah, I mean, I think we ask this every year because it's always a successful season, but how do you kind of separate last year from this year and say, hey, you know what, last year happened, it's cool, but we did graduate seniors, we are a different team, and we have to make sure that we're not, leaning on last year's success.
Oh, yeah. I mean, every year when you have success, you develop a bigger target on your back. So every team wants to beat you based on how you did last year. So the girls know that the target is very big, and they just need to know that we are a different year. We're a different season. We're a different team. We have different personnel. And they're learning to fill their roles, and it's an ever evolving process. I mean, we're trying different positions. We're different people on the court. So we're finding it. We're getting there.
Let's talk about this season and the roster we have. I know there's a good mix of familiar faces that we all know and have come to enjoy, but also some new faces stepping up into big roles. So talk about the roster you put together this year and who we should expect to see.
Well, this year we have 7 seniors. Obviously, we have Abby Emsch coming back for her final season. I know everybody will be glad to know that she's finally a senior, so we're looking forward to Abby's year. I have 6 other seniors. Some of them have played varsity in the past. Lydia Campbell was middle for me last year. She's back. Natalie Blakeman was DS last year. She's back. I have some kids who played JV last year and are moving into some varsity roles. And then I have a couple juniors. I have Lainey Hour. She's recovering from an injury she's had with her foot over the summer. So we're still waiting to get her full go. Hope that's going to be soon. And then we have Sophia Stewart, who is stepping in as a setter. She's doing a really nice job. I Bailey Ash, Sophia DeTilio round out my juniors, and then Kerrigan Miller is a sophomore. She's been playing some varsity, as well as some JV time. She's doing a nice job. And then my seniors, I have Jaden Scheller, Abby Boyarko. There's 7 of them, so it's hard for me to remember. Aubrey Unkefer, and then I already said Abby Emsch. Natalie, Lydia. One of them's slipping my mind, but I'll get them in a second.
Those
But
banners
it's
aren't
a
up
great, yeah, it's a
the
great.
banners aren't up in the gym yet to help you.
Oh yeah, I know. I don't have my roster sheet in front of me, and yeah, we just had a 2-hour practice, so my mind's a little
Yeah.
scattered. We're good.
It's we'll be in the
I
middle
might
of
have even
talking.
said all 7, but yeah.
One of the things we want to talk.
Allie Howell. Allie is my other senior. Allie, I'm sorry. Allie is a great kid. She was unable to participate last year during the season, and she is full go right now. She's doing a great job as a defensive specialist, the backup setter. She's doing phenomenal. So that's all of my varsity roster. I said I give you my 7 seniors and my juniors and my 1 sophomore. So I'm good.
You got it. You got it. Coach, I also want to talk about this schedule, the MVAC. That's where your biggest target is going to be. All those teams want you bad. You have Southeast coming into the league this year. Talk about the league and some of the things you expect out of it and what it's going to take for Crestview to stay on top of it.
I'm sure Garfield will bring back a solid program. They always do. LeBray is always solid. I don't know much about Southeast. We've played them in the past and they were very strong, but I'm not sure where they're at right now with talent. Oh yeah, I think it's probably going to look similar to where we were last year. I know that Liberty's graduated some tough players, and Brookfield also has. Newton Falls will probably be similar to where they were last year, with returning some good kids. So I'm looking for Garfield to probably be the biggest challenge in our league.
And then when you talk about the non-conference schedule, you guys always want to get yourself as ready as possible for tournament time. So what teams pop up outside of the MVAC this year that you're excited about?
We open up with Salem, and then we turn around and play East Liverpool, which will be a big game. We have Girard early on, and then we'll play Fitch later on in September. We have Boardman at the end of the year, and then we have we have Cardinal Mooney as well as Western Reserve. So I think it'll be some very solid games. We're gonna have to bring our A game to all of them to have success. Got some good teams in the area.
We've talked about this every year, but you don't have to go very far to get good volleyball, in the non-conference. What's it like to be able to not travel too far and still find high-level volleyball to go and test yourselves?
Well, it's kind of ironic because we actually travel farther for our league games than we do for the non-conference, where we're getting the really high levels of competition. So I appreciate that we don't have to go too far. We just went to Fitch last night for a pretty high level scrimmage, and that was a lot of fun. But any bus ride that's less than 45 minutes always makes me smile.
We usually don't spend the season preview talking about tournament time, but because of the realignment and the more divisions in volleyball and every other sport that's not named football, I want to talk to you about kind of what you saw out of it, what your initial thoughts are about, being in a different spot. I know in Division 5, it's a lot of familiarity with where you guys were last year, especially locally, but what are some things that you thought about, expanding the divisions for volleyball and what it does for Crestview?
Well, honestly, I almost feel like it just took Division 3 and transplanted it to Division 5, because a lot of the schools that we see, we will still continue to see. Lakeview is no longer in our division, which is nice because I hate for us to run into each other when we both have powerhouse teams and one of us has to leave. I believe Girard is now Division 5, so they will possibly run into them during tournaments. But I don't know. I feel the same. I looked at the list a while ago. I haven't re-looked at it because honestly, at the point in time, you play who you play, and that's what matters. It would be nice to have the bigger, stronger Catholic schools in a bigger division, not Division 5, but that's an argument for another day.
When that was being discussed, more divisions in every sport, did you have like a thought on it? Did you think it's good for volleyball to go more divisions and maybe get more teams the opportunity to make deep runs in the tournament and things like that?
I don't know. I guess I have mixed feelings about it. I don't know it's what's best for the kids. I mean, obviously the OHSA will have more tournament games. They'll have a higher revenue, so it's good there. It is good for the smaller schools, I guess, and the bigger schools possibly, but I feel like the teams in the middle are still, it's the same for us. I don't feel much different about it.
I want to also talk to you about your staff. We always give the time to shine a light on the coaching staff that you put together. What are some things you can say about your coaching staff this year and who you have working behind you?
I absolutely love my coaching staff. I have Mackenzie Cross. She's my varsity assistant. I have Casey Landsberger as my JV coach, and Sarah Finch is my freshman coach. And honestly, I I think coaching is so enjoyable when you have a staff you can trust, a staff that you love to work with, that you get along well with. So I feel very blessed. They're all knowledgeable. They're all fun. It's a very positive environment. Today we had a 2-hour practice. We typically go 3 in the preseason, but we had a big scrimmage last night, so I gave them a 2-hour practice today. And 1 hour of them was focused on individual skills, which we break up as coaches and take a skill set. So they're getting that individual instruction at practice from knowledgeable coaches. So I feel very blessed to have that coaching staff that can do that.
You've been able to also, build a strong program, and we don't do that without the youth of the community. You've been able to see a couple of freshman classes come into this program the last couple of years when you guys are having very successful runs and not really be fazed by the next level of volleyball. What does that say about your middle school program and where it's at compared to where the high school level is at as well?
Our middle school does a really great job. We have Diane Campbell and Drew Farron coaching our 7th and 8th grade program. And the main idea in middle school is to get them to love the game and teach them the basics of the game. And it's fun to watch the girls progress. And then once they come from 8th grade to freshmen, then they see the upper level kids and then they know what they need to do to get to that next level. So I think it's a really nice progression. Like I said, teach them to love it first, teach them it's fun, teach them the basics, and then let them develop. They get their own love for the game, and that's when you really start to grow amazing volleyball players because they just love to play.
We all know the Crestview community is excited to come out for volleyball this year. When is the first game that they can come out and watch the Rebels play?
We are at home on Tuesday. What's the date? 17th? The 20th? Is that right? Mm-hmm. Yep, Tuesday the 20th. We will host East Liverpool at Crestview, but we open up at Salem on the 17th.
That's exciting. Day 1 of volleyball. Crestview's there, not wasting any time. Coach, we want to thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. We appreciate the season preview, and we'll talk to you in real soon.
Great. Thanks for having me.
You got it. That was Crestview head coach Alicia Auer taking time to talk to us about the volleyball season. We thank her, of course, for her time. One of the things that we're going to do before we get out of here is talk about what games are going to be on the network tonight. ysnlive.com/live is where you can find them. We have volleyball on the network tonight, 4 volleyball games for you. Lisbon opening their season hosting Heartland Christian. Rick Daly has the call for you there. 5:30 first serve for that one. And Joe Eusebio going to be back at Columbiana. Their second game, they host Poland. First game of the year for the Bulldogs. Second game of the year for the Clippers. Eric Hughes taking volleyball tonight. He'll be in Struthers as they host Cheney. I will be heading up into the 440. I'm going into Sam's territory a little bit. Hope he doesn't mind. I will be in Grand Valley as they host Wyndham tonight. So an all YSN matchup going on in Grand Valley to open the season for both those teams tonight on YSN. Some other games going on volleyball tonight. We have Perry going to Lakeside, and Ravenna City going to Southeast. So those 2 games are being played tonight as well. Boys soccer, we have Heartland Christian opening the season. Crestview is going to be hosting United, and South Range will be hosting Brookfield. On the network tonight, we have 3 girls soccer games. Matt Marr going to be in Ursuline for their matchup with Warren Harding. We have East Liverpool going to be hosting Carrollton, and Owen Clean will be on the call there. We'll have video only, but a broadcast from Poland's girls soccer team. They host Manchester, so that'll be going tonight as well. Shout out to some girls golf matches going on today. United going to Beaver Local. Poland and McDonald are going to Old Dutch Mill to play each other. Ursuline and Hubbard playing at Deer Creek. I should say Ursuline and Hubbard. Boys golf, a lot going on today. Hubbard and Poland are going to be at Knoll Run. Beaver Local and United. Cardinal Mooney at Fitch. We have Ridge and Niles at Howland at Old Avalon. South Range versus Boardman at Mill Creek Park. Gerard going to go to Ursuline. Columbiana and Lisbon are golfing today against each other. Crestview and Newton Falls are playing at Riverview Golf Course as well. So a lot going on the boys' side of golf today. A couple of girls matches, and like I said, girls soccer, 3 on the network tonight, 4 volleyball games on the network, That's 7 games total. ysnlive.com/live, where you can find them. Make sure to tune in. We want to thank you so much for tuning in to this show today. We thank you. We'll be back tomorrow from 1 to 2, talk about all the results that we get in from today, and we'll talk about more season previews as well, still coming for you on Running Point. Thank you so much again for tuning in. Running Point always brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet and